coffee time, Rob Brown.
I went right to the juice. I mean,
Juice.
right to the heart of like the go-go juice this morning.
Well, it is time to wake
Woo!
up, man. Rob Brown in Memphis.
Games are long on Sunday night. They are keeping us all up a little bit too late.
I know. A little
bit too late.
There's so damn many good games on. That ABC triple header they do on Saturdays, it's incredible.
It's like crack.
Yeah, it is. Look, take a picture with your cell phone of the QR code. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. 8 channels simultaneously.
9 times.
Same time. Yep, we are. And we brought on a new show Friday. Frank Duffy, Go for the Gold, LSU. That was fun. 9 shows on this channel that we've been building, and we ain't even started. We're just getting started.
No, we really haven't even started.
We really just getting started. Hey, look, Coach Ellis Johnson checks in with us this morning from over in South Carolina. Coach Pete Cordelli and Dave Bartu will join us as soon as he can from College Football Matrix. He just said, he texted me and said, boys, are y'all ready for the heat? Because it's coming from the West Coast. A lot to talk about today. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. Look, so much football this weekend. I think a lot of people's eyes are really sore. God, I watched a lot of football. But
sore? My eyes are sore. I was at the game on Saturday. So
I know, and I was texting you, and they held on, but you can see
they tried to give it away, didn't they?
Yeah, it was brutal. But look, we got a lot to cover today, and we're going to talk about the frauds from the legitimate teams and the rankings. We're going to tear the rankings apart because let's get Coach Johnson started in here with us, and Pete. And guys, good morning. First of all, thank you more than you know for sharing your time with us. Combined over 70 years of coaching experience between these two youngsters, Pete Cordelli, Ellis Johnson. Guys, watching football, and I was doing my homework last night to prepare for the show, and you read up, and you see, I know, and you see that there's only been like a couple of times in the last 70 years since 1936, 1950s when the preseason polls started. We've only had a couple of times when teams that were ranked 1 and 2, like Texas and Penn State were, and now in the first week of October are not even ranked anymore. I used to say if I was a coach, I'd take all the preseason magazines, put them in a stack, take them out on the practice field, and light them on fire and say, this is what's going to happen to your season if you're paying too much attention to this versus what we do on the field. Ellis, you know, we're talking about Arch Manning in Florida, what happened Saturday. Were you surprised?
No, it's easy to say this after the game. I picked that one. I just think that Texas has got some issues. And now you mentioned earlier about all the offensive linemen that were out.
Yeah.
And they're not protecting Arch. He also got hit in some real compromising positions when he was throwing. And I could have sworn one time I saw him grimace real bad when he threw. It seems like certain throwing motions are doing something in that shoulder. I don't know. Yeah. But regardless, that did not surprise me. And I think Florida may win at Texas A&M this weekend. Marcel Reed is not playing well enough to beat anybody.
Yeah. Well, Pete, you looked at that, and you talked about Lagway's injuries, and you look at Arch. You've coached quarterbacks. You've coached quarterbacks that have won national championships. What's your take on what's going on in Texas? And I know Dave Bartu has a lot to say about all this, but let's get started.
I've said before the season, Texas had too many guys replaced with that offensive line. I mean, they lost both tackles to the NFL.
Yeah.
And the guards were pretty good last year, other than against Georgia. You know, Georgia got after them. But again, Texas in the other games, they played pretty well. And I'm like Ellis. This isn't all on Arch. It's a protection issue. And I don't know if Sark is trying to make Arch a drop-back quarterback, but that's not his game. That's not his game. He's an on-the-move, run-pass option type guy. You got to move the launch point in college football today to get away from the pressure. We always used to say, if we're going to take a defense like Ellis Johnson ran and bring in pressure, we're going to sprint one way and get away from half of it. And guess what? We understand that half the field now is taken away. But if the ball's on one hash or the other, we basically got 3/4 of the field to go to. All right. Get away from the pressure. And now this guy feels more comfortable because he's not sitting there feeling like, dang, I got to throw out of a phone booth. I mean, these cats are, and let me tell you something. Florida's defense has not been the problem.
Yeah.
Florida has a good defense. It's been the offense and Lagway and the inconsistency. Now, Texas defensively, it was uncharacteristic. First touchdown, the kid gets hit in the backfield. He just hops back, jump cuts, and sprints to the right end zone. Then on the one touchdown down the right sideline, the corner falls down.
Yeah.
I mean, Lagway, he throws a laser in there, but the kid has to tightrope it down. Florida's defense has not been the problem.
Yeah.
It has been the offense and Lagway's inconsistency. And Texas is, I don't know. Rob, I'm like you. I can remember a time when the preseason magazines didn't come out until after the 4th of July. Now they're coming out in May, Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And you don't even know who the hell's on your team because of the transfer portal, who's going to stay, who's not coming in the summer. But guess what? It's all about clickbait and money.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that cat working for ESPN and who's from Memphis, went to White Station High School, went to Tennessee, Mr. Clickbait, and now he's going to run for Bruce Pearl's son. Please do us a favor. Please do us a favor.
Well,
take your happy ass to Washington, and you know what? Let the Auburn folks roll in D.C.
Well, you know what's crazy?
Take your clickbait ass out of here, Tennessee.
Hey, this is what's Paul. You know, I will say this too. You know, it was out on Twitter last night. I got this thing, and look, it's hard playing these teams, but he's 2-8 versus top 10 teams at Texas, 5-18 versus top 10 teams overall. It is hard. Now, look, whatever the best is, there's always the standard. Ellis, Nick Saban. I mean, his record, and fair or unfair, but man, all I know is this. If I'm running, I like running with people that are fast as lightning. When I've done triathlons, I used to get on the back wheel of the fastest people, you know, and try to stay with them. That's how you're going to get better. Coach Johnson, looking at other games, Mississippi State, Texas A&M over the weekend. You watch that one, and I'm getting some stuff from A&M fans going, you know, why does everyone think this team is so good? But, I mean, you know, they won the game, but your thoughts on Mississippi State's surgence as they get better players, they're going to be more competitive.
Yeah, I said last week they look like against Tennessee, they look like a legitimate SEC team. They've evidently done some things with the portal and recruiting, and they're a good football team. A&M's defense is just so destructive, and they really took it to Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. But I do not think, and I'm a big A&M fan, but I don't think they can go the distance unless this quarterback starts playing better. I mean, he played very average in that game, and they still won. But they're not going to last down the road if Reed can't play better than he did.
Well, when you start looking at it, Pete, everybody says the dual threat quarterback. Marcel Reed, has he got the arm to throw him out of jams? I mean, he can run. And then I also heard something said, maybe the reason Arch is running so much is because things are just breaking down around him. Kind of talk about how you keep your head when that's happening.
Marcel Reed has never been a very accurate thrower of the football. From high school here in Nashville at MBA, you know, he was committed to Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss and then flipped to Jimbo at A&M. The one knock on Marcel Reed was, and I say this week in, week out, the mark of an excellent quarterback to me is, can you make an accurate throw under duress with consistency? There aren't many guys that can do that. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that, you've elevated your football team by making that big-time throw. The other thing is, Craver and Concepcion, they're exceptional receivers now. To me, you throw it up and it's a 50-50 ball, those cats are going to do it. You know, at Notre Dame, look at how many explosives they hit because that Notre Dame secondary just couldn't get it right, and the lack of communication. Again, we have a 7-3 halftime score. Mike Elko has to go in and break 2 more chairs this time to get his offense's attention. And you know what? Elko's going to do what he's got to do. I don't blame him. Rob, I want to go back to Arch Manning for a minute.
Yeah.
Ellis and I both have recruited in New Orleans. We've been to Isidore Newman High School. That's not the best league that's not the best competition in the state of Louisiana. God bless David Cutcliffe for training Peyton. And I'm going to say this, Tuberville was at Ole Miss, and there was a statement made that as long as Tuberville was at Ole Miss, Eli Manning would not go to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And that was made by a pretty strong family member, and it wasn't Arch. So figure out who it was. I mean, Mama's got a lot of say in that dude, baby.
Yeah.
So when Mama said that, and, there was some things going on, David Cutcliffe all of a sudden shows up as the head coach. And he does not go with the Tennessee team when they win the national championship. Yeah. So David Cutcliffe now trains not only Peyton, but he's got Eli. Yeah. Arch Manning is a year to 2 years away. Marcel Reed, I agree with Ellis. When the heat gets on, can he make a consistently accurate throw under duress? Yeah. He's got 2 great receivers to bail him out, and he's got a defense to bail him out. But the problem becomes, do you become like Garrett Nussmeier and throw it into coverage? Diego Pavia, throw it into coverage. A quarterback has to protect the football. Running backs, we talk about 3 points of pressure. The quarterback's way of protecting the football, don't throw it where there's 2 white jerseys to 1 or 3 or even 4 where the ball can get tipped. Yeah. And you know what? We're seeing some quarterbacks make some poor decisions throwing the football. Yeah. And for Diego Pavia to have 3 turnovers in that game, yeah, Vanderbilt had a chance until he threw the 2 interceptions and had the fumble. Yeah.
Well, let's bring in one of America's nice guys, Dave Bartu. Dave, you've been licking your chops. I'm just going to get it. Hey, we need that Don Rickles song. He used to play El Toro, the bull, when he comes on here. Dave, how are you?
You invited a Cat 5 hurricane to this show this morning, man. I am ready to.
Well, I'm ready
to
for you.
Some beers and kick some ass, and I am all out of beer already.
Well, I'm on the Red Bull, dog. So I went pink. I'm just robbing people right now.
I am. I don't even know. I came on this show pissed off at Jim Franklin, ready to get on my soapbox and start bitching, and then I hear one of y'all talking about meaningless top 25 rankings like they're important. Yeah. They don't mean anything. Dude, I can put out my top 25 ranking right now. UCLA's number 1. Guess what? Doesn't mean anything. But you know something? There's a bunch of adults listening that are going to get butt hurt. You know whose problem that is? That's the listener. That's a fan. If you're hurt over an AP top 25 poll that means jack ass, that's a you problem. It doesn't matter if they come out in April or May or June. It's all clickbait. All of it. Yeah. Stop it.
I'm gonna need you to stop. This is our livelihood. I'm gonna need you to stop right now. Okay, this is why we put these things out. This is we need something to talk about, bro.
Yeah. Exactly. It's entertainment. It's for talking. It's for discussion. But it's not serious. You go on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all these social media places. And, oh my God, the sky's falling. My life's ruined because Penn State's still in 3 guys top 25. Yeah. Dude, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. You're at a nya. I need you at a nya.
Yeah. You're at a 10. I need you.
And I think that committee that picks the playoff teams is just as bad. They start with these programs halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And they put it. Don't look through who they put in the top 5 or 6. Look who they're putting at 15, 14, 16. They're setting them up. They're setting up the brand names and giving them a chance to play their way into the 12. They need to go to things like you do, Dave. They need numbers. They need to go to the formulas. It'll be less bias, less human nature in it, and just as few mistakes. There'll be mistakes, but there's mistakes now already.
Guys, I've said forever, I hate committees because there's human bias involved in everything. And you can't tell me there's not. But I wish we'd go back to the old BCS, feed the information into the computer, and then come out. Here's my question. Who's paying everybody on that committee? Why are those people having to go to Texas and put all this money into NIL? I don't know who pays them.
Yeah.
Where does this money come? And where does this committee come from? And you know what? I'm a big believer. Unless you've played this game, you don't quite understand what a week is of preparing. And then on Saturday, either getting your ass beat or winning a big game like UCLA just did. You know, and UCLA's not in the conversation because they're now 1-4. But just the whole mindset of having the experience of going through it.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the BCS computer and Dave Bartu.
Dave, what do you think?
Go.
Dave, if a formula's not good, then how do you do what you do for a living?
Okay.
Okay.
Pete, you want to go back to the formulas. You want to go back to the BCS, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You understand that was a committee of 13 men that decided what variables ranked teams, right? That wasn't a computer.
No. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Clean data
You're
in.
enlightening me now.
Clean data out.
Okay. The BCS was a committee of 13 men that decided which variables they felt were important for ranking a college football team.
Gotcha.
It was not a computer ranking. It was a human committee that was more manipulable than what we have today, was less transparent than the non-transparent thing we have today.
Gotcha.
And so the BCS sucked. It was a committee of 13 men that decided how to rank college football with no transparency.
Yeah.
Thank you for no. Thanks for I was wrong, obviously, because that's the first time I've heard that.
I disagree. I
wasn't talking to you, Pete.
Let Ellis. Yeah, Ellis.
No, I wasn't talking. I was talking to everybody listening. Yeah. This is a common misconception. It wasn't. Pete brought up a great subject, but a lot of people go, "I want to go back to the BCS. I don't want a committee." Guess what? The only way you not have a committee is have rules where teams play themselves in. You know the rules, and they get in without one person or one computer saying they're in or out.
All right, Ellis,
do you know?
Go ahead, Ellis. On the BCS, once the rules were put in place, then the humans are out. And everybody knows those rules too. And you either get in or you don't get in based on what they put on paper. Now, they may have messed it up. Maybe they need people like you involved. But I still think it takes more of the human bias out of it. And I got to go to 2 national championship games with the BCS formula. So I think it's a great fucking idea.
You like to love that, Coach. Tom Cruise, don't mess around with TV. Look, Top Gun says he likes it. Bring the BCS back right now.
Well, all right. We need to get the priest in here. Everybody calm down. No, but I think what's really cool is like Pete and Ellis and Dave, 3 of the and all this panel, smart guys. I did not know that either, Dave, what you just said about 13 people putting that data in. And now look at the season where we are. You talk so much, and I have people come up to me. I was buying hot dogs from Hot and Heavy Memphis Hot Dogs Friday.
Oh boy.
On Madison. And by the way, they ordered gummies from you Friday. They were great. They sent me their receipt. But anyway, Ann and Ron McIntyre, we were talking about this, and we were talking about the numbers. You talk so much about reps and snaps and starts. Ellis, when Ellis and Pete talk about defensive fronts and offensive lines and quarterbacks, I mean, it's like asking Michelangelo for art lessons. It's really cool. Talking to you is like talking with Thomas Edison about the light bulb. All right, Dave, this is fascinating to me. The SEC top to bottom, what's going on in this league? And then I texted Rick Neuheisel yesterday to congratulate him. So excited for him because he used to come on the show, but now his show is the same time as ours. but he was so appreciative of it. He's a dad. That must have been hard for him to do what he did. But Dave, you're out on the West Coast, football all over the country. There's like this revival.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were. It's amazing what one game can do, because the rest of the weekend was just like, bleh, right? I said, okay, everything kind of happened that we expected to happen. There's no real fireworks there, and then you get
Florida won.
Yeah, and then you get. I mean, seriously, going into Saturday, my lowest Power 4 market power ranked. So what I do is I take all of the odds makers and I have this complex connectivity. It's like a giant spider web of ranking teams based on opening lines, because the opening line tells you the probability of winning. You connect it all together, it creates an odds maker power ranking by team. UCLA was dead last. And arguably that was the single worst FBS versus FBS loss this century. I mean, UCLA's numbers were abysmal, horrid, god awful. You name it. Vanderbilt, 1980. I mean, just horrid. And then Penn State just got their ass beat by going on the road. And then we had to listen to James Franklin complain about not having his cake and eating it too.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Talking about the travel and guys, Pete, when Notre Dame would play, when y'all would play Southern Cal at the end of the season, wasn't that for recruiting purposes? Wouldn't you stay? California pretty well, don't you?
We would play at Southern Cal one year at the end of the year, or at Miami. It was always the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So what we did was we practiced Thanksgiving morning. We'd have a team meal in the dining hall. We'd go get on a plane and we fly out to California. We'd go to John Wayne Airport, stay in Newport Beach at the Marriott, or we'd fly down to Miami, and we'd have our meetings, practice Friday morning. And then every Friday in LA, they had a USC Notre Dame luncheon. So coach had to go. So the players had from noon to 6 off. And then we'd play. And then Sunday morning, the Notre Dame Club of Southern California would put on a breakfast before we go to the airport and fly back. And the same thing in Miami. So it was, and at that Notre Dame Club on Sunday morning, there were some guys that we were recruiting that just happened to show up for breakfast. So,
how nice, Coach.
Hey, would you like a free breakfast? Come on over to the Fountain Blue and we'll take care of you, brother.
Absolutely.
I love the Fountain Blue, by the way. I have a question for the panel. Excuse me. Speaking of breakfast, since I'm on the Red Bull this morning. Okay, great. I got to talk. I mean, I was at the game. I was at the Florida game. Obviously, was there. Watched the whole thing. I agree with you, by the way, Pete. Tom Cruise, aka Ellis Johnson. There's something up with Arch. He's just not. He's not 100% out there. He winces a little bit when he throws in the second half. So he just doesn't seem. And I don't think he's in the right scheme. What you noticed that at the end of the fourth quarter when you got him in space, he can make some great throws on the run. That touchdown they scored with 3 minutes left, which leads me next to my next question, since I've got two coaches and a numbers guru. I'm freaking out at the end of the game going, why are we calling a timeout? Why is Billy calling a timeout? Austin Barber's the tackle, his helmet comes off. It's an automatic 10-second runoff. And instead of running off, doing the 10-second runoff and then doing the play clock rundown, Billy calls a timeout, which of course they shit the bed on the third down, and then they got to punt it away, giving them 55 seconds left in the clock instead of less. I guess I'll start with Pete, and we'll go left to right for me. But what were your thoughts as coaching call? And I'm asking this because I feel like this is kind of a Billy Napier thing. End of the game, stupid ass calls. To me, am I wrong? Or am I just being armchair quarterback?
No, I think you're right. I think this is the thing that's plagued Billy all along. At critical times, the timeouts or not calling timeouts. South Florida, mean, so it's a pattern. I mean, and Dave can speak to that more than me, but it becomes, when you watch these teams week to week, I love watching coaches on the sideline during games just to see body language, where they are. The knucklehead with the freaking playbook behind him running up, hey, like the little minion. This is the analytics book. Will you get that guy off the sideline? God damn.
Yeah.
Coaching is a feel, real time, in game. Get that knucklehead out of here.
Yeah.
All right. At
yeah.
some point, you got to have a feel for what's going on. And in the fourth quarter, you know who you're dominating and who's kicking your ass.
Yeah. Dave.
So by that point in the game, you got to figure out what we can do.
Yeah.
That's not the way some of these coaches go. AKA, not only can't win the big one, can't win the little one, James Franklin.
Yeah. Dave, that's.
Didn't see it. Didn't know the circumstance. Okay. But so I got nothing on that. But
You
no,
didn't see it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
29-21.
I
can give you the whole thing. Minute 43 left in the game.
I got the gist of it. Look, I understand. I hit refresh on my ESPN scoreboard about 1,600 times a Saturday. Okay, yeah. I'll go into the house. I'll put work down. I'll go into the house. If it's snug with 3.5 minutes left, I'm like, okay, I'm turning this on. Penn State down at halftime. Yeah, I wouldn't turn that on. Okay.
It gave them a shot it really gave them another second life. I mean, they had one timeout, and Arch just ran down the field and scored, it wasn't outside the possibility.
Yeah.
No, seconds are valuable. Look at the UCLA game, right? 4th and 2 into the fourth quarter, inside 1 minute. They go for it on UCLA 35. They don't get it. UCLA gets time for 4 more plays and a field goal. Yeah. Penn State doesn't kick the field goal, takes 3 points off the board, gives UCLA 3 points. That's a 6-point swing in 37 seconds. UCLA won by 5. Okay. Yeah. So I get what you're saying, Brendan, that seconds, this is a game of inches. This is a game of seconds when it matters. Most of the time it doesn't. But you have to coach like every yard and every second matters because you don't know when it's going to happen. Right. But what I can say about this, now I worked with a head coach in that same state that had a lot of angst, just like Billy gets. Okay. And what I tell every head coach, because I believe this is professional football, this is professional sports. Okay. Is it's a very mental game. And being in these bad situations, these tough situations, less than 2 minutes to go, you don't get into them very often. So you don't have a lot of time to practice. So what I encourage all head coaches to do, and I'm talking right now, I am speaking to every head coach, wannabe head coach in the country, high school, middle school, junior college, D3, D2, D1. Okay. Start cutting up film or have somebody cut up film. I wish there was a library for coaches. And what it does is it puts you in, here's the game situation. What would you do? Then watch the game play out. Here's a game situation. What would you do? Pause, watch it play out, and put yourself into these tight situations on the airplane, at home, driving to a recruit's house, over and over and over and over until mentally you are calm and you are much more prepared for these situations like you're talking about at the end of the game against Texas at home in the swamp.
Dave, can I say this? This weekend alone, FBS had 22 one-score games. FCS had 23 one-score games. You got to be in the mindset, like Dave says. 22 one-score games?
Yeah. Coach Ellis, is this, though, I mean, Billy Napier's, I know Billy, I'm not knocking, but it just seems like game management at the end of the game. We can go back to a couple of games even last year before just getting the wrong unit on the field to kick a field goal at the end of a game, or there's a myriad of things that have gone on that have cost the ball game. Did you feel like that was a mismanagement at the end of that game?
Yes. Now, why? That's a different question. And the only thing I could imagine is you had a personnel problem that he was really worried about at that time. And before you let somebody get a delay of game or something like that, just burn the timeout and try to get it all organized. I have no idea if that was it or not. Now, the second thing, though, you've mentioned before that you don't think they're extremely organized in the box sometimes. Billy can get real cerebral. I mean, he is a very smart football coach. If he's trying to call the game and make those decisions, this is where a lot of coaches get in trouble. They get immersed in the call sheet, and they're more worried about how many times they call certain plays during the whole part of the game. How many times did we run it? How many times did we throw it? It comes down, like y'all have just said, there's about 3 critical times in a close ball game that you better make the right decision, and it has nothing to do with play calling. So some coaches can't do that. They can't get out of the play calling and we got time, and they make a mistake. And they either have too many people trying to give input at a critical time, or they don't have enough people. Yeah. And it's not clearly defined who's doing what. I got a call from a good friend way back. He was working for the Cardinals, and I'd already quit coaching. He wanted to know if I was interested in coming on the staff. And I said, well, doing what? And he said, well, coach wants an older, experienced coach, and he wants somebody who's in charge of the clock during the game. And I'm thinking, hell, I mean, I didn't know they had clock coaches. But he wanted somebody that was constantly keeping an eye on the clock and the field position and the timeouts and such, and interject at the right time when you have to get his attention, because he may be immersed in something else.
Yeah. Dave? Yeah.
7 years ago, my team, as everybody knows, our main job in the private world is we build staffs for college football and the NFL. Okay, we use analytics to build staffs, get them hired, and so forth. 7 years ago, we ran the numbers, and we started looking at head coaches as CEOs versus head coaches as play callers. Okay, and we started this narrative 7 years ago that head coaches that are CEOs win national titles. Okay. I believe in the last 25 years, the only head coach that wasn't a CEO that won a national title, and he got lucky because he had a generational player in Jameis Winston, is Jimbo Fisher. Okay. Okay. But look at Ryan Day. He called the plays his entire career at Ohio State. Gave it up last year for Chip Kelly. Okay, look at your top teams today. Alabama, OCDC CEO. Oregon, OCDC CEO. Miami, OCDC CEO. Okay, and you go down the list. Ohio State, OCDC CEO. You know, just keep going down the list. It just doesn't work as well. What the look at your greatest coaches. Okay, Nick Saban, OCDC CEO. Urban Meyer, OCDC CEO. You know, Dabo Swinney, I know he's struggling right now, but still one of the top 3 active head coaches in all of college football. OC, DC, CEO. I think Billy needs to hang up the play calling, he is, I agree with you, Alice. He is very smart. He's almost too smart because he tries to outthink the room. You know, when you hire 2 offensive line coaches coming into Florida, you're trying to reinvent the wheel. Overthought that one. So OC, DC, CEO, I think that may be the missing piece going forward.
Yeah,
unless you're Steve Spurrier.
Yeah. Well, the one
Ellis, going back to your point about being immersed in the play call sheet and calling the same play over and over. Sean McVay admitted to that Thursday night on that when they didn't make it on the 4th down. He after the game, when they asked him what went wrong, he said, I called the same play 5 different times. He said they finally got it. And that's the guy. I mean, come on, man. You're one of the best play callers in all of the game. And he got caught up in it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember talking to Urban Meyer last football season, and we were discussing the same exact thing. And he's like, I don't win any national championships in Florida without Dan Mullen in my ear. Yeah. He said, he'll challenge you. Well, and the moments that, that you need to be challenged, and you need a certain personality in there and somebody that you respect. So it just makes sense when a Chip Kelly gets paid a couple mil to go in there and do something because offensive and data and information, it's all coming so fast. And I think when you have a cerebral guy like Billy, when you get in those pressure situations, it's hard to pull the trigger, right?
Well, it is. People overanalyze things too. And like when I always tell clients the stock market was down 1,800 points. What'd you do? I said, here's what I want you to do. If you're panicking about the stock market, I want you to start at Front Street and Poplar. Brendan's right. Front Street and Poplar, downtown Memphis, go all the way through Collierville to the square. Down Poplar, the busiest street in Memphis. Get someone to go with you and a notepad. And every time you pass by a business that is a publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, write them down, okay? People ain't going to quit going to ExxonMobil to get gas. They're not going to stop going to McDonald's to get a double Big Mac like Pete gets every other day. They're not going to stop going to Taco Bell. They're not going to stop, going to Home Depot or Lowe's. Get in the way of the money, but don't complicate it. Dave and Brendan, this is the smartest group this is fascinating is what this really is. And I hope nobody gets mad or anything like that. But I like raising our hands.
Oh, they get mad.
But this is like, Ellis is right. Like, I would like to know, you think about when things are going crazy, like, man, my wife, Audrey, she's just a calm, man. She's just like being down on the Gulf Coast at the beach. You got to be a mountain of calmness. Dave, you've heard what Ellis and Pete just said, and Brendan, talk to people out there that are going, there's no hope for our team, because I'm looking at an interesting stat. 3 of the top 4 teams in the preseason rankings, Penn State, Texas, and Clemson, aren't even ranked anymore. The last time a winless team, 0-4 UCLA, last time a winless team beat a top 10 team in the season was 1985, 0-6. UTEP beat Brigham Young. Dave, kind of makes sense out of this.
Things happen.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we play the games.
That's right.
That's why I'm a bit perplexed from the standpoint is you're asking me to breathe enthusiasm and happiness into fans, which, by the way, the word fan is Latin.
My apologies.
No, the word fan is Latin for butthurt. On a guy who thrives on whose career is on pessimism and keeping in mind what the downside is.
Yes.
But when it comes down to college football, though, you have windows of opportunity. Okay, the big brands are going to be the big brands because they got the big money. And right now, what matters is how much money do you have and how well do you spend it. Okay, Texas Tech is our great example, right? They got a bunch of money from some billionaires. They went out, they scouted, they got the players. But a lot of people don't understand, too, is they upgraded their defensive coordinator. They got a 4.5-star defensive coordinator. They massively upgraded their offensive coordinator. I know everybody loved Kitley. He went to FAU. Look, the guy they got now as offensive coordinator, on paper, way better. Okay, so they spent their money wisely in that bubble. Now, if that money keeps coming in, then the arc can keep going up. But if the money goes back to regular Texas Tech money, the team goes back down. We saw it with Oklahoma State. Okay, we saw T. Boone come in, dumped billions in there. Oklahoma State went from a mid-40s recruiter into the top 25. At one point, they were the number 3 recruiter in the Big 12. They were winning a ton of football games. T. Boone died. The money disappeared. Gundy said, I don't need the money. And guess what? The recruiting went right back down to the bottom of the Big 12, and here we are. So, but from a positivity standpoint is the football gods give and the football gods take away. Yeah. Okay.
One quick thing.
Never act like you've been there because
you're free to move about the cabin, by the way.
Ellis.
One quick thing about Florida, one other aspect on this. If you got to call the plays and then you've got to manage the game and the offense comes off the field, they got a quarterback that needs a quarterback whisperer. He's struggling. The first half of the season was really struggling. It might be a lot of times where Billy could be talking to that kid as opposed to watching the game. And so if you can't handle both, you better get a good one, like Dave said, get a good OC and get somebody that can talk to that kid every time he comes off the field. Because he's making athletic plays, but he ain't making great decisions. And it could be a factor in what we've been talking about.
To
Pete,
go along with
yeah.
that, Ellis, there is a movement on staffs to get your assistant quarterback coach to be really like your quarterback's best friend. You're off the field with him. You go to eat with him. You build a relationship with him. So during the game, he's the guy with the iPad on the bench going, hey, look, we got, but he understands the kid's emotional highs and lows. And that's where the ability to calm this young guy down, it's not always from the head coach. It's not always from the coordinator, but a guy that spends more time with him. Dave, on the flip side of the Oklahoma State story,
Yep.
Memphis,
Yep.
Ryan Silverfield, when FedEx put $25 million into the NIL, Ryan Silverfield has done a great job of building and maintaining the roster and his staff. And continuity is so important, as you well know, to keep this thing going. But that commitment by FedEx, which will stay there, it started with Fred Smith, but now his son Richard Smith will make sure that Memphis has that $25 million to keep going. Bubba Cunningham, who is now going to be removed as the AD at North Carolina, wanted Arthur Smith to be the head coach at North Carolina. Arthur played there because Fred Smith, when he was alive, made a comment, a commitment to Bubba, I will finance the NIL deal just like I'm doing at Memphis. The board of trustees guy that went out and got Belichick. Now we got this lawsuit. Belichick was on. Bubba Cunningham wanted Arthur Smith because Fred Smith was going to foot the bill just like Cody Campbell at Texas Tech. And Fred Smith was going to put all that money into Carolina football if Arthur Smith was the head coach.
Wow.
Hey, Chapel Bill. How do you like me now, baby?
Show me the money.
Oh, Dave Bartucci.
But no,
this
the
is
Memphis
fascinating.
deal. Hey, Rob, the Memphis deal, though, with Ryan Silverfield,
Yeah.
that's FedEx putting that money in.
Well, we had Ryan Silverfield on the show Friday morning.
Great guy.
Oh, yeah. And I was texting him Friday
Awesome,
afternoon, and he is looking forward to talking to some of the people on this panel here. And
Awesome guy.
10 seconds, he fired back and said, give me his number. But I'm going to see Ryan tonight at the Touchdown Club in Memphis. Looking forward to that. Dave, we'll do rapid fire. I mean, wow, this is awesome. This is better than Hollywood Squares, man. Dave, comment to what he just said.
Well, we just started with Memphis, and then you got my sports pants tight talking about how crappy Bill Belichick is. I mean, we're talking about.
Really?
I mean, Bill is on the path of having the probably. I don't know if it's going to replace Ty Willingham's most glorious season at Washington.
Oh no! What a shot! Oh my God, Ty!
But no. The single greatest improbable football season in my lifetime is Ty Willingham at Washington. That is statistically, it is nirvana. It is awesome. And North Carolina sucks just as bad. Just as bad. And the funny thing I think about the North Carolina situation is simply that a lot of people think that Bill sold this to North Carolina. No, he sold this to dozens and dozens of ADs. He sold it to dozens of presidents. He was out shopping this thing like the Colonel was selling his chicken recipe and got rejected 1,000 times. He just found a sucker at North Carolina to go for it. All right. But back to Memphis, your original question with Ryan Silverfield. Yes, having the money from FedEx, very, very valuable. Ryan getting the right guys to evaluate players, because $25 million is great, but it's still not SEC Big Ten money. You still have to do really good things with it, and he can dominate that conference with that kind of money if it's done right. Ryan is also solid at staffing. Actually, he has one of my favorite guys, a guy named Tim Cramsey's his offensive coordinator. Has been there for a few years. Tim is very, 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 very good. I have been waiting for Memphis. They're kind of like on my bubble board of when does this team make the playoffs as that group of 6 team that can get in there with that money and Ryan's ability to staff. Again, it's going to just come down to a little luck, some seconds, some inches, get them into that playoff situation. But I think Memphis has positioned themselves to be able to do that with Ryan.
Yeah, and I know the president, Dr. Hardgrave, because he was the dean of the College of Business at Auburn that Mr. Lauder brought in. Mr. Lauder has always been a big supporter of Auburn. And Ellis, this is.
Did you guys hear that the Jordan has sponsored Belichick? That's the new Jordan symbol over there, UNC. I don't know if you guys saw that coming in. That's the new symbol. It's the new Air Jordan. It's cool. They're gonna put it on there.
No. Dude, that ain't Bill. That ain't Bill on the bottom there. No.
Who knows who it is? I don't know. It's Air Jordan's logo, man.
Well, look, what's wild is that, and Ellis, you think about that. If I'm a coach, like what Dave just said, Ryan Silverfield's only 43, 44 years old. He's been coaching since he was 18 years old. Went to the Bowles School down in Jacksonville, Florida. That guy could be an arbitrage guy or trader working on a hedge fund. I mean, he is a really smart guy, and he has a culture, Coach Johnson. Everybody, he said, you come in, we talk to you, we talk about the culture, but if you don't love football and you're not serious about, you're being a good man in academics, and he goes, they're one of the top 5 in the country for community service with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, and they do a lot of stuff. The total package. Don't waste my time. Ellis, I would love to have you and Pete and Dave on my staff if I was a 44-year-old, just to tap into your brains, because, you've only been 44 for him. Y'all been 44 and you're what you are now. You can't make that up, Coach Johnson.
Well, somebody called me the other day. He was a really good football coach. He's a little older than me, but we both at one point in time coached at the Citadel, coached at Clemson, some other things. And I'm not going to say his name, but he said, you need to go over there and help those guys at Clemson. And he said, tell them I need to help them with their offense. And I said, hell, TK, I couldn't make it through period 15. The trainer would be over there working on me every day instead of kids that are injured. But so coaching days are over. I'm done. And then I'm waiting on you two to get me a casting call. You've been talking this Tom Cruise bull crap.
Look, I got you a Mission Impossible 12. Okay, you're going to be the evil genius. All right, you're going to play opposite of TJ. So I'm
going to see if Dave can help me. Y'all ain't going to do anything.
But, hey, I tell you this much, Coach Johnson, the wisdom though that y'all are bringing in here. I mean, Pete, going back over here with you. When did you like to be down on the field or up in the box as an offensive coordinator? Because when that quarterback comes off the field, I've got 4 kids. We've all got a lot of kids among us. There's something about you putting your arm around them. I remember when I was at Auburn, when Pat Sullivan, my childhood hero, along with Shug Jordan, became the quarterback coach at Auburn. Man, how cool was that to come off the field and talk to Pat Sullivan or talk to Pete Cordelli? By the way, I must show you a picture. Look at Pete. He's a damn stud. It's Ray Romano, man.
It's AI generated. I'm telling you, we had to get that done because I was on too many post office walls, and my probation officer he was finding me too quickly.
Okay.
Listen, I always love being in the box because you can see it up there and you can make your corrections. But during the week, like I said, I had a GA who was with the quarterback, but we also had that player phone on the sideline. And, at Notre Dame, I'd be up in the box and all of a sudden the door would flip open and our infamous basketball coach, Digger Phelps, would come in and he'd go, hey, Cardelli, screen for the screener, pick for the picker, and get the ball in the paint. I mean, like the end zone. And so, words of wisdom from a basketball coach like Digger Phelps always was really interesting during the game. But no, I like being up because you can see different things. Dave, I want to ask you this question, and it goes back to play calling.
Okay.
In basketball, how many guys are on the floor on one team?
5.
In baseball?
9.
In football?
11.
Odd numbers. You can't ever be balanced. So here's the deal. If you can count to 6, go where they got 5. Let's not overcomplicate this darn thing. And you know what? A little bit of motion, or what the new term, right, Ellis? Eye candy. Come on, man. You want to be cool. Eye candy. Motion. If they rotate, now you may have 4 to the backside. As a quarterback, you have to understand who you're affecting with the play call. So if there's 11 on defense, but they're too high and then they're spinning the safety, there's a pre-snap read, post-snap read.
Yeah.
Make your decisions based on where your eyes are and how you get out of the lost yardage potential turnover play. Let's not overcomplicate this thing. So like Ellis said about Billy, he probably called the timeout to get the personnel right. But also, you got to know the time, you got to know the score, you got to know the situation. Hey, buddy, we're up. Do not throw an incompletion like you did against South Florida on 2 passes and let South Florida get the ball back. But anyway,
yeah.
That's one where you got to reemphasize to the whole offense. Here's the time, here's the score, here's the situation. Here's what we have to do to win this game. You have to constantly be coaching.
Yeah.
And it comes down to, I'm the quarterback. I'm the extension of the coaching staff on the field. Are they unbalanced? Are they overshifting one side? Go where they're not.
Yeah. Dave, and by the way, that is really fascinating to think about. I always ask people, do you like to be in the box? You like to be on the field? But go ahead, Dave.
Oh, well, what was the question? There was a lot of stuff in there. I kept thinking of a question I had for Pete and Ellis, so I think I lost my train of thought. What Pete was asking me, offensively on that.
Well, you think about the complicated stuff, Ellis Johnson. What everybody's saying. So much is happening. And we've seen it in basketball where a guy calls a timeout when there's none left. We all remember those kind of moments. When you take a timeout, how many of those guys are paying attention to what you're saying?
Yep. That was all kind of factors. But a lot of that, it doesn't happen on the 5th game in the 4th quarter. You've had them now for 6 months. What have you been talking about? What have you been doing? But you don't have to get Tom Brady at that moment and go back over those things that Pete just mentioned. But if you've got a kid like Lagway, he's played 1.5 years of college football. He needs somebody in his ear in that situation.
Yep.
Well, I can tell you that game was won by some really great Dallas Wilson, by the way, who played lights out, broke records, most yards ever gained, 2 touchdowns. Having him back as a weapon is obviously huge for Lagway. He trusts him. They got good chemistry, obviously. That was big. And, the 90,000 Screaming Gator fans that are like a rocket ship in there that gets real loud when you need him to get loud, when you need your defense to get loud at the end of the game, made a big difference. And Coach, Napier, alluded to that, obviously. So I just feel like, man, this was great, but where was this a game or 2 ago? Because now you're later in the season. It's always this way. It's like where the hell was this team before? Because now we're here again, like we were last year.
Yeah,
right? Same spot as you were before, and now you got to go on a hell of a run. And I'd like to think they can go into A&M and win, but that's a tough place to win, and you don't know who's going to show up. So, but defense wins games. We've always said that defense wins games in the SEC. And I think right now, Florida's defense is playing at a very high level. And you've got some really great young guys back there making some flying around and making some plays. I think that's what you need, but you're going to have a good scheme. It's too little, too late almost, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but guys, we're about out of time. Unless Brendan ever says sometimes go extra innings. But bottom line, I'd like to just ask Dave, looking at the SEC, I have Georgia playing Alabama for the championship. And I picked Bama to beat Georgia. They took out Vanderbilt. They just had more athletes in the end. But look at Garrett Nussmeier, DJ Lagway, Arch Manning. They got all the preseason hype. I've got my Lindy's magazine right here. And You know, I mean, just think about what's going on, Dave. I think we're overstimulated. That's why you can sleep better when you take your lights out gummies, because your brain has been looking at so much stuff.
Well, it puts you in a juxtaposition.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Flummoxed.
I think with the SEC, I think what you're looking at is you don't have very many balanced teams. They're not very good, right? I mean, you know, you look at LSU. They got no offense, right? And that's not a surprise. We talked about Sloan. He's one of the lowest graded OCs in the SEC, so we're not surprised there. A&M doesn't have an offense, right? Texas, Sarkisian's on his third consecutive year of offensive scoring efficiency regression. They don't have the offense that they need. They got the defense, right? Vanderbilt has the offense, doesn't have the defense. Kentucky never has an offense. You know, you kind of go down the list, and there's not many balanced teams in the SEC right now that are good on both sides of the football. You got Oklahoma, you got Ole Miss, you got Alabama and Georgia. I mean, who else has shown up consistently on both sides of the football in that regard? So I think the biggest quandary with the SEC right now is that they are too offensive focused and not enough defensive focused. They lost that when Nick decided to go up tempo and chase points. B, I think the combination of rosters and coaching, they got to figure out how to get more balance, because I think overall the SEC is just, I think this version of the SEC would get absolutely smoked by all previous versions of the SEC. These teams just aren't that good across the board.
Yeah, look, we're going to have to wrap up now, but Coach Johnson, Coach Cordelli, I call y'all coaches just because.
Good job, boys.
That unbelievable.
Good job, boys. Hayes in the barn. Hayes in the barn now. Come on.
I'm nominating y'all for an Emmy.
For you guys.
Yeah, but Dave's right. You just sit there and you look at these teams. They've got one who has both. I don't know who does. And the fans are their heads are spinning. The TV ratings are off the charts. But man, I mean, I don't know.
Games are close, right?
Games are close.
Right.
Ellis Johnson over in Winsboro South. No, not in Winsboro, right outside of Clemson. Awesome stuff. Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix. Coach Pete Cordelli, read the book. And Ellis, man, I'm looking forward to you writing a book on defense. That will be a great copy. But guys, thank you all so much. We will do it again next Monday. This has been fascinating.
Boomer Sooner.
I know, right?
Boomer
If
Sooner.
they get
Oklahoma's going to
If
beat
they get
Texas.
Mateer back, I'm going Oklahoma and Ole Miss in the championship.
Ellis, if that happens, Ellis, I'm going to Atlanta, and you and I are going to the game. I'm going anyway.
We're gonna come have a caravan. We'll get the jet out.
Hey, Ellis, you know what the joke is about the Ole Miss football fans? Don't ask them the way to Atlanta, because they don't know, because they've never been there. I think they changed that this year.
Yeah, I-22 East. All right. See y'all next week, man.
I'll call you, Dave. I owe you a call. We got to call.
Right, that was fascinating.
Something. Yeah, well, it always is. It's like my favorite. It's like the Monday Rumble.
It is a rumble, man. Look, we're going to say something about Landers Ford, people. Get out, man. Get you a new car, truck, SUV. Landers Ford, Poplar and Houston Levy. Open every day of the week except Sunday. Ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager. Make it easy. Get started. LandersFordMemphis.com. Pro Athletes Hemp Association. Lights Out Gummies. Energy, chill, lights out, flat out. They work. Hit that QR code. Hewlett and Dunn boxes coming in every day. They have got Barber, Filson, Stetson, Pendleton, Schaefer, Duckhead. Every day boxes, 15, 20, 30 boxes coming in. HewlettandDunn.com. Open every day except Sunday. And Rumble Boxing. Union and McLean, how you fight is how you live. Hey, we are the truth brokers here. We may ruffle some feathers, but we're going to make you think. Most often we see the face of Christ and the least among us. Stay tuned to this channel. We're building a network. We're just getting started, and we'll see you tonight.
Good night, John Boy. We'll see you tonight. And don't take any wooden nickels, Rob Brown.
And I'm going to go hear Coach Silverfield at the Touchdown Club.
Woo, I know. We got a press conference with Billy right now. But we'll talk to you soon. It's all sports all the time.
All the time on the sideline.
Woo! Woo!